खुदा में रज़वी हूँ।
खुदा की रज़ा चाहते हैं दो आलम, खुदा की रज़ा चाहते हैं दो आलम, खुदा चाहता है रज़ाए मोहम्मद। सारी कायनात यही चाहती है कि अल्लाह को राज़ी करे। Everybody in some way or the other wants to please Almighty Allah. And every person who believes in Allah knows, har iman wala ye janta hai, everybody who believes in Allah knows that unless you do not please Allah, you cannot be successful in dunya and you cannot be successful in the akhirah. And unless you do not please Allah, neither will you get His rahmat, nor will you attain Jannat. All of this is dependent on pleasing Almighty Allah. So if a banda wants Jannat, if he wants Barakat, if he wants Rahmat, he has to please Allah. उसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अपने रब को राज़ी करे, अगर वो कामयाबी चाहता है किसी तरीके से। मगर सब चाहते हैं कि अल्लाह मुझसे राज़ी रहे. Everybody wants that Allah should be happy with you. But Allah wills that His Nabi should be pleased. Allah wills that His beloved Nabi should be pleased. That is why Allah says in the Holy Quran, He reminds us, وَمَن يُطِعِ الرَّسُولَ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهَ. Whomsoever has obeyed the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that person has obeyed Allah. So what do we learn? We learned that if a banda, if a true servant of Allah wants Allah to be razi with him, agar koi chahta hai ki mera Rabb mujhse razi rahe, he wants Allah to be happy with him, he wants Allah to be pleased with him, then the first thing that he has to do is to please Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has to please Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ये ज़रूरी है कि रसूल पाक sallallahu alaihi wasallam को राज़ी करे. And when he pleases Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Allah will be pleased with him. And this pleasing the beloveds of Allah and Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most beloved. अभी आपने सुना हाजी फरहाद सदर नूरी पढ़ रहे थे, यही बोले सिदरा वाले चमने जहां के थाले, सभी मैंने छान डाले तेरे पाए का न पाया, तुझे यक ने यक बनाया, तुझे यक ने यक बनाया. यानी पूरी कायनात में from the east to the west and the north to the south, from the beginning of this universe until the end, आप तलाश करते रहो, continue seeking and looking, you will not find anybody like Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. You will not find anybody like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radiyallahu anh has said it so beautifully कि ज़मीन व ज़मा तुम्हारे लिए, मकीन व मका तुम्हारे लिए. या रसूलुल्लाह, everything is for you. Everything is for you. हर चीज़ रसूल पाक के लिए. बदन में ये जो दहन में ज़ुबान तुम्हारे लिए, बदन में है जान तुम्हारे लिए. हम आए यहाँ तुम्हारे लिए, उठे हैं वहाँ तुम्हारे लिए. Everything is for Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? और आपने सुना होगा कि जब अल्लाह, when Almighty Allah created Nabi Adam alayhi salatu wa salam, then Almighty Allah put the ruh, the soul in his body. But you know, when the soul came from Alam Arwah, from the domain of souls, and it was about to enter the jism of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, the qalib, the physical form of Adam alayhi salam, then the ruh came close and it became anxious, pareshan ho. It was used to being in a big alam and now it was going into just a body. So Allah Ta'ala put the noor of Rasul Akram Noor Mujassam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam into the forehead of Hazrat Adam ala Nabina alayhi salatu wasalam. And when the noor was put into the forehead of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, what happened? Then the ruh entered very happy, very pleased. अब वो खुश रहा, मुतमईन हो गया कि अब नूरुन अला नूर. इससे एक बात समझ में आ गई. From this we have understood something very important, that the actual life of the body of man, the actual life of the body of Abul Bashar was not the physical soul but the spiritual soul, which is the noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because वो जो न थे तो कुछ न था, वो जो न थे तो कुछ न था, वो जो न हो तो कुछ न हो, जान है वो जहान की जान है तो जहान है. Everything is dependent on the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Everything is dependent on Aqai Kainat, Noor Mujassam, Surur Kalbosina, Tajdar Madina, Fakhre Mawjudat, Hazrat Ahmad Mujtaba Muhammadan al-Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. So if you and I want to please Allah, अगर अल्लाह को राजी करना है, तो याद रखो वो जो इमाम अहले सुन्नत ने कहा कि बखुदा खुदा का यही है दर. यानी खुदा की बारगाह में पहुंचने के लिए, अल्लाह की बारगाह में पहुंचने के लिए, to reach the court of Almighty Allah, there is one gateway, there is one huge door and a Mubarak massive gateway, and that gateway is in Madinatul Munawwara. That gateway is Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Or this is the aqidah of the Ahle Sunnat wal Jama'ah. And you must remember that मैं अभी साउथ अफ्रीका में लास्ट वीक और लास्ट बिफोर वीक ये कह चुका, और मैं यहाँ एम्स्टरडैम में भी यही बात बोलूँगा. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हम लोग की बोली एक होती है, वहाँ बोले या यहाँ बोले या जहाँ बोले एक ही बोली बोलते हैं. वही बोली जो आला हजरत ने फरमाया, और आला हजरत ने वही बोली फरमाया जो गौसे आजम ने कहा. उन्होंने वही बोली जो है बोला जो उनसे पहले हजरत अबू सईद मुबारक अल मखजूमी ने कहा. उन्होंने वही बोला जो उनसे पहले बुजुर्गों ने कहा. उन्होंने वही बोला जो साहबा इकराम ने कहा. सो द बोली इज वन, बयान करने का तरीका अलग अलग होता है. We are saying the same thing, the message is the same, because when you take a message from a chain, when you take a message from a chain, then that message is very strong. बहुत मजबूत होता है. अगर कोई आके आपको ऐसे कह दे कि हदीस में ये है, ठीक है आपने सुन लिया, मगर कोई आपको ये कह दे कि अबू हुरैरा ने बयान किया, कोई आके ये कहे कि अबू हुरैरा has said this, he says to you it is in the hadith, it is in the hadith. You say yes, but I don't have knowledge. But somebody says no, this hadith is reported by Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala an, and this hadith has been reported in Bukhari and Muslim. Now आपको कुछ हिम्मत हो जाए, हाँ कि बुखारी मुस्लिम में है, अबू हुरैरा ने बयान किया या फला साहबी ने बयान किया. What do you understand? कि आम आदमी आके बोले तो आपको एतबार इतना नहीं होता, इतना यकीन नहीं होता, मगर जो एक सिलसिला से आए, which comes through a chain of transmitters, it becomes very powerful and very strong. Because not just anybody is saying, that person who is saying, who saw with his eyes Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब क्या है? That the closer the word and the transmission is to the court of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the more mazboot it becomes, the more mubarak it has become. So you will find that we are saying whatever we are saying today is what we have heard from our mashayikh. They have heard from their mashayikh. They have heard from their mashayikh. And so on and so forth. And you will find the same word until it links to the hadith of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what is the aqidah of the Ahle Sunnat? And since we are saying aqidah in the last 5 minutes, ये टॉपिक बहुत ही वसी है मगर मुख्तसर. Today people are forgetting what is their aqidah. Today people are forgetting what is their aqidah. Each wants to mix with the other. This one should be happy and this one should be happy. Look, बहुत आसान में समझाता हूँ. सुन्नी भी खुश रहे और बदमजहब भी खुश रहे, ये भी खुश रहे और गड़बड़ भी खुश रहे. मुझे जरा दिखाओ कि आप अपने गाड़ी को ड्राइव में और रिवर्स में एक साथ डाल के. मैं एक आसान चीज बताता हूँ, नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट. यू पुट योर कार इन ड्राइव एंड रिवर्स एट द सेम टाइम एंड शो मी. है कोई यहां जो कर पाएगा कि पुट द कार इन ड्राइव एंड रिवर्स एट द सेम टाइम? इम्पॉसिबल. ड्राइव में डालेंगे, जैसे यहां एक दीवार है, देयर इज अ वॉल हियर, और ड्राइव में डालेंगे तो आगे जाएगा, और रिवर्स में डालेंगे उस वक्त तो दीवार से टकराएगा. If you put in drive, it will go forward. You put in reverse, it will hit the wall. You say, Maulana, no, I don't put in drive and I don't put in reverse. I put in neutral. I say, put in neutral and pick the handbrake up. फिर देखो क्या हाल होगा. फिर देखो क्या हाल होगा. There is no such thing as neutral when it comes to aqidah. There is no such thing as दोनों तरफ when it comes to aqidah. या तो सही है या तो गलत है. And this is the big problem in the world today. This is the biggest problem. कि इससे भी इसके साथ भी बैठो, इसके साथ भी बैठो. यहाँ भी जाओ, वहाँ भी जाओ. If we continue doing this, then the future is very destructive. The future is very destructive. You go back into the zamana of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Sahaba knew you cannot sit with Abu Jahl and sit with Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the same time. You have to make a choice, and the choice that the Iman wale made was Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when they made the choice, they did not choose Abu Jahl because of his wealth and his power or anything else. They chose to listen to the word of As-Sadiqul Amin. They choose to listen to the word as the most honest and the most truthful person. Then Abu Bakr chose that word, and Abu Bakr chose that, and he became Siddiq Akbar radiallahu ta'ala. That Bilal, who I said last night, had nothing of the dunya, magar he chose the side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aur aaj jo hai, he became our imam. That is why when Hazrat Abu Bakr used to refer to Hazrat Sayyidina Bilal Habshi radiallahu anhu, when the Sahaba used to refer to him, they used to say Sayyaduna Bilal. They used to say our master Bilal. What was the reason for it? Because he had money? Because he had wealth? Because he had power? Because he had property? No! He had Ishq Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aqidah is very important. दो तरफ वाली गेल नहीं चलेगी. We have to make up our minds. And remember, if we go the wrong way, tomorrow your children are going to go the wrong way. बाप शराब पिएगा तो बेटा शराब पिएगा. If you go and sit the whole day in the coffee shop, मैं एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ एम्स्टरडैम का. आप जानते हैं कॉफ़ी शॉप में, मैं जब पहले बार आया मैंने कहा हाजी मोहम्मद अली से कि कॉफ़ी पी लिया जाए. उन्होंने कहा हजरत कॉफ़ी शॉप में कॉफ़ी के अलावा सब मिलता है. तो मैं समझ गया क्या हाल है. समझ रहे? But if you go and sit in a coffee shop, an example here, or if you sit in a club, Allah na kare, and you sit in some other place, then your child will think that that is the way to go. But if you sit in the house of Allah, if you sit in the masjid, if you sit in a mazar, if you sit in the company of the ulama haq, then your child will know this is the direction that you need to take. So whatever you do now impacts on the future of your awlad. It impacts on the future of your generation. That is why, when the mashayikh of every zamana sat, then they made their children sit with their mashayikh. They made their children sit in the court of the pious servants. Why? Because they knew that this will impact on their future. And I said this many times before, मैं बार बार ये बात कह चुका, फिर दोहरा रहा हूँ. हम जो अब करेंगे, whatever we do now, it will depend on what happens in the future. Whatever we do now, if you sit in the company of Ahle Sunnat wal Jamaat, if you sit in the company of those who are on haqq, if you sit in the company and read salat behind those who are right, you don't look at how famous somebody is. You look at his connection in the court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You look, see, many people say that I follow what the Nabi said. We don't want lip service anymore. We want jo zuban pe ho, wahi dil mein ho. What is in the heart and in the tongue should be the same. Isi ko iman kehte hain. Go and look at the definition of faith and the definition of acceptance of deen. It must be the heart and the tongue in the same. They must be in tandem. And what the heart and the tongue says, the action must be the same. यानी ये कोई फायदा नहीं कि हम सुन्नी सही अकीदा है, इसी पे मरने की कोशिश की पूरी कोशिश करेंगे, विल गिव ऑल लाइफ फॉर दिस एंड दैट, मगर जब वक्त आए तो बदमज़हबों की महफिल में बैठे या बदमज़हबों के साथ जा रहे, तो ये ईमान अकीदा नहीं है. You must understand, whatever do we do today will impact on our future. If you live with pious people today, you must remember, I said this before, मैं बार बार ये कह चुका. I've said this many times, even in Noori before. What decision we make now impact on the future. Example, today what we do, the right and the good things, and those things filled with Iman, then insha'Allah will azim, close to Qiyamah, they're only going to be two parts. They're only going to be two parts. The one of Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Mahdi, and the one of Dajjal, Kazzab. What you do now will impact on where your awlad go in the future, on your future generation. If you fill in their hearts now, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the love for Allah and His Rasul, then insha'Allah that last jama'at of your generation, they will join the ranks of Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Mahdi. And if you don't, they will leave this way and they will go with Dajjal. So the choice that you make today is going to impact on your future. Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave the world with Iman. Those who are ill, Allah grant them shifa, kamil, sehat, ajil. Those that have passed away in Ahle Sunnat, Allah exalt them in Jannatul Naeem. There is not much time to speak more on a Friday. But before I end, I'm going to take 1 minute with your permission. The minute for this, that whatever we are saying and whatever we are speaking, don't forget Palestine. This is very important. Every day, before you go to sleep, pick up your hand and make dua for the Muslims of Palestine. Make dua for their plight. Make dua for their safety. Make dua for their protection. In less than 100 days, 80 some odd days, in less than 100 days, I said last night as well, that almost 108 to 100 children have been made shaheed every day. Leave everything else. More than 8,800 children have been martyred. And their only jurm is that they read the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember them, make dua for them. Allah give them sabr. Allah give them strength. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy those who are trying to destroy the Muslim ummah. Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave the world with Iman. Those who are ill, Allah grant them shifa, kamil, sehat, ajil. Those that are passed away in Ahle Sunnat, Allah exalt them in Jannatul Naeem. Special dua for the mother, Hazrat Maulana Shakil Sahab, and all those who have asked us to make dua for them. Allah sabko shifa और सेहत अता फरमाए और अल्लाह ताला हम सबको ईमान की सलामती अता फरमाए. व मालिन बिलाग. अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू.